I decided, and this helped me a lot. So there's a learning lesson in all this stuff. There's just like, oh, well, that's just how many homes it takes. You got to crack a few eggs to figure it out. And you got to let them see all this stuff so that they can really figure out what they want. Well, I was pretty frustrated after having to call agents and cancel 2 deals before, particularly one of them after inspections, going pretty far along on the process. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really frustrating.
Welcome back to Life at 10 Tenths, where we inspire you to live at the pinnacle of your ability and purpose. Got my friend Matt Benelli with me. We are excited to bring another podcast episode to you. But before we get started, I want to give a huge Happy New Year to Nick Sempert out there. Again, super fun. If you get a chance and you find Nick on social media, make sure you reach out to him. Give him a huge Happy New Year. And Nick, thank you. Thank you for bringing humor and laughter into our life. And I know that you've started a trend for yourself. But we want to say, as we're starting this new year, as we wanted to talk about this real quick, and this leads into our podcast episode, is that a lot of you start a new year every year looking for a fresh start. And Matt and I have had many conversations about this where we watch people going like, okay, brand new, fresh start, new goals, new me, here we go. Like, we're going to go after this. And one of the biggest challenges is that we watch you act exactly like you did the year before. We watch you show up exactly the same way. And we're going to talk about that a little bit today, because it's only a fresh start if you decide to change how you're acting and what you're doing. You got to show up different. So Matt,
yeah,
I'm excited to talk about this today. And Nick, thank you.
Me too. Yes, Nick, thank you, and Happy New Year to you, brother.
Yes.
Really Happy New Year. We'll be wishing you that all year long. It just makes it everything better. You know, Garrett, you brought this topic up, and it was just like, yeah, like it's almost like one of those things like, yeah, no kidding. But like, what does it really mean to change you? And I had a conversation with someone one time where they said, you know, I really wanted to do more business this year, you know, but it didn't happen. And I said, well, what did you do, you know, to make it happen? And this person said, well, I wrote a larger number on my affirmation. I said, okay, that's great. That's a great start. What did you do differently? Oh, I didn't really do anything differently. And I said, okay, well, that's, you know, maybe issue number one. I said, how did you think differently? And that was where it was like, oh, okay, because you may have actions and standards. You may be doing some things differently or doing some things more. The biggest question we'd probably have at this point is, will you maintain that going forward? And how are you showing up in your mind? How are you showing up mentally, emotionally to those things? And are you truly transforming into a person that you want to be? Which, by the way, can happen in an instant, because the minute you start changing changing the way you think and emote, like, you do change.
Yep.
But that change needs to happen, Garrett, because otherwise we're just going to do the same things, maybe some different things, hoping for a different result, but we're still the same person inside. And we wonder, well, how come we didn't receive different results?
Well, we've talked a lot about this year, especially inside of the group coaching side of that. Like, one of the things that has to change first is your identity of who you are. And we watch a lot of people that, you know, they know they want a higher goal. They know they want to achieve more. They want to sell more homes, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, like, they have an internal identity that doesn't necessarily see themselves as somebody that does that. It's a goal, but at the end of the day, their brain's going, and someday I'm going to be that person. And it's one of those interesting things that you have to start going, okay, I have to start acting as if. And part of acting as if is like, when somebody who achieves those types of goals, what is a habit that they do that resonates with that? And can I build an identity around that? Can I say I am a person that wakes up every single day and does gratitudes? Can I build that as an identity for myself? We all, I'm hoping all of you, have an identity of, I'm someone that wakes up and brushes my teeth. Like, that's what I do. It's an identity for myself. I don't come downstairs until those teeth are brushed. Like, we have an identity built around that. Some of you have an identity of I take a shower every morning. Some of you have an identity of like I only wash my hair once a week because the oils and it's all healthy and all this stuff. You have an identity that you've built around how you handle situations that give you the outcomes that you desire, or sometimes not the outcomes we desire, but we have an identity for habits and things that we do. And building a business plan and looking at your year, Matt, like these are the opportunities to step back and go, all right, how am I going to act different and change to produce the results that I want to produce? And that's where I look at it as like, well, what is my current identity of how I see myself right now? Does it support me even obtaining those goals and being that type of person? And what are some adjustments I need to make? What are some things I need to do differently that if I want to have that? Like health, Matt, you've looked at this, like you might look in the mirror someday and go like, I really wish I had bigger shoulders. Like I've done that, by the way. I'm talking about myself. Like, man, I really wish like I, like, Rrr. And the interesting thing is that it's like, well, are you doing any shoulder exercises? Like, every day, do you do things that will directly impact what your shoulder? The best my shoulders have ever looked is when I was hitting a punching bag. When I was out actually rocking my heavy bag that I have that's outside, just collecting dirt on it right now. Like, it's like, do I want to make that part of my routine and my identity? Maybe I should. If it's a goal, like, let's build that in first. The shoulders are the byproduct.
Yeah. Well, I think the level of intent and intensity that you pursue those things with too, right? Because and we see this a lot in business where people will do the same things, but they achieve different results. And I believe it is two things primarily. One, it is the intention and emotion they show up with. Are they approaching this with gratitude and love, or are they approaching it with resentment and just disdain? And then the other thing is...
Wait, I got an example. It's the kid that shows up to baseball practice because mom and dad want them to be there, and the one that's like, I love baseball. Okay, go.
Right. Yeah. And then the second part is when you're in it, when you are time on task, are you going deep on that, or are you just looking to check the box to say, hey, I got it done, right? And this is where you can have things that look the same on paper, but they feel different. The experience is different, and that will transform. It transforms your business, but it starts with you transformed yourself to be able to do that, right? Yep. So even when it comes to health, there's eating healthy. There's also like looking at everything around that and understanding how it works in your body so that you can really then use that to go further. I mean, like when I wore my Whoop strap before we started our program with Own It, I was looking at numbers and I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I could do this and this to improve those numbers. Didn't really understand how they all connected, or, and maybe that's probably my own fault for not doing the research. But then we found Justin and Own It and got into the group program with them and really understanding what the numbers mean. Now, I don't necessarily have a different amount of time or anything that is spent on my health. I just understand it better. So my level of intention that when I'm time on task with it, when I'm making meals, when I'm exercising, when I'm thinking about going to bed, there's just a different level of energy that goes into it, which I believe is helping achieve the better results that I'm seeing. And it's really cool to see that kind of stuff, Garrett.
I'm happy you brought up the health numbers, because I'm the same. I'm dumber than you with health numbers. Like Matt's been like studying it for a long time. I'm like, all right, Matt's doing it.
You're catching up. You're catching up quick.
I am figuring some things out, but I think it's interesting is like how many things in our life that we don't really get to see the full benefits of or be able to work with the data that we have because we just don't understand what in the world we're looking at. It's no different than someone says, I've never been good at talking on the phone. Well, has anybody ever
thought about learning?
Has anybody ever taught you how to talk on the phone? Like, has anybody ever taught you like how, like what makes a great conversation? What are the goals that you want to have when you're on a phone call with somebody? My dad taught me many, many, many years ago. Two people walking down the street, having a conversation. Who's enjoying the conversation more? It's the person who's talking. And so, like, you want to get good at the phone, keep the other person talking. It's an amazing thing. It's not about you enjoying the phone call. It's about them enjoying the phone call. Like, there's things that you learn about health Matt, you've taught me more about like, I mean, I remember calling you and going like, dude, I am looking at all these protein powders on the wall here. And I know that some of them don't make me feel good. I know some of them have, I'm like looking at calories and all this, and like you've got to look at sugar content based to calories so that you know, because some of them they're making up those calories with sugar, some of them are low sugar, and like, and I still haven't taken it all in, but I remember the conversation there. I remember standing in the store looking at it and going like, there's a lot going on here that you have to understand so that you're not only making changes, but you're making right changes and appropriate changes. We work with people on how to build relationship businesses, and a lot of people go like, well, okay, so what are all the moving parts? Do I just show up and like nice to people and all of a sudden I get business? No, there's a lot of nuances that like, it's funny, in my world, that's the thing I understand really, really, really well. I know how to communicate with people and I know how to build relationships. The health stuff, I am doing my best right now. Like I have so many questions.
You're doing great. You're moving in a good direction, which by the way, we're about ready to start another round of this group program with Own It. And if you guys want to join us for it, just reach out to us. You can email us. You can reach out through the form on our website, whatever you guys want to do, because everybody can come into that and join us. It's a wonderful, wonderful program. And you know, it applies to your business too, right? There's, like you said, the phone, Garrett. There's also just understanding, like, how are my transactions operating, right? It's like, oh, this deal fell through and that deal fell through, you know, and okay, that's okay. We'll find them another deal. It's like, well, let's go and understand what are the nuances of that, right? Let's understand what's going on with those clients so that we can, you know, help prevent that or maybe mitigate that in the future. It doesn't mean that you absolutely will, but if you are approaching it with like, man, I really want to understand how these people are operating and making decisions, you know, beyond just like, oh, they decided to do this, then you're going to be able to not only help them more, you're going to help the next person more. I mean, I remember I had a client, this was kind of before I really understood how things worked very well. And I had time. 65 houses, I think, was how many we looked at.
Ooh, 40's my number. That's my high.
I think it was 65. I counted them all. They bought this, it was maybe 64, but they bought obviously the last house. And they found it themselves, which is really funny. And we looked everywhere, all over the area. Like when I say all over the area, I mean, we're talking about an hour to 2 hour radius of things. And we were under contract 3 times.
Matt, thanks for your help, but we're going to do this ourselves.
Well, no, they used me. What I mean, when they found the house themselves, it was outside the search area. And they're like, that's the one, which I decided, and this helped me a lot. So there's a learning lesson in all this stuff. There's just like, oh, well, that's just how many homes it takes. You got to crack a few eggs to figure it out. And you got to let them see all this stuff so that they can really figure out what they want. Well, I was pretty frustrated after having to call agents and cancel 2 deals before, particularly one of them after inspections, going pretty far along on the process. I was like, oh my gosh, this is really frustrating. And so ultimately they bought the house that in the area that I knew, when I think back to it, the wife was definitely not buying anywhere outside that area because she wanted her husband to be close to work. She didn't want him to commute very far because she wanted them to be together as a family. And they were a lovely family. These people are so amazing. I loved them. So I didn't mind driving all over because they were enjoyable to be with. He wanted space and being out there and everything, but the time of their life, it just wasn't going to make sense. And if I had sat down with them and really walked through the what's and the whys and understood that one why, then we would have centered the search there. Now, everything's, you know, a blessing in disguise because that house that they bought was a pretty unique house. It popped up at the end of our search process. And what was crazy is, you have these clients, I know you do, where they're like negotiating down every little thing. This one, they're like, yeah, we're good with, we want full, actually, let's offer a little bit more just to make sure that we get it.
Oh, man.
It was just so confident and
when
clear.
Buyers want to buy, buyers buy fast.
They
move.
And so I learned through that, like, hey, let's do the analysis. I need to understand this is where I could have asked this question. This is where I could have asked that question. And that helped me with the next clients. And I never had to show 65 homes again.
Well, this again, I mean, that's going back to where we started. This is like, all of us want different outcomes, and believe me, and I showed the 40 homes too, and it's like, okay, so what you have to go back and analyze. You can't just sit there and go like, oh, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Like, I guess that's just the way it happened. Like, everything you can improve upon. You can take a step back and be like, okay, I want a different outcome. What can I start doing differently? We were kind of roaming around health there for a second. And like, I've learned very quick, I recover the best when I get my heart rate down into the low 50s, sometimes high 40s at night. Very rarely will it get into the high 40s, but I can definitely get it down into the very low 50s. I'm pretty much guaranteed I'm going to feel great the next day, I've noticed. If I can do that, I've also now like started to learn that there are very specific things that I will do that will keep my heart rate up. And I can trace it right back to IPAs. I can. You want to keep your heart rate at 70 all night long? Have an IPA somewhere in about 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock at night. That will make that heart rate stay high. And then you're like, I feel kind of groggy. Oh gosh, IPAs kind of make me feel a little the next day. Well, it's my heart rate. It keeps my heart rate up. That's what I know now by gathering data and knowing data about myself. And it's like, okay, so changes we can make, because I do want to feel at the top of my game every day. I want my brain to be super high on point for everybody that I'm coaching and everybody that I'm around. And when I show up for podcasts, like, I don't want to be searching for words. I don't want to be stumbling on my sentences. I want to be sharp and fast and moving. If I'm speaking and teaching, I know I got to be on point in front of the room. There are no takebacks. There are no second chances. If I want to come back and teach again to that room, I have to be on point, which means we got to take care of ourselves, which means when you start to learn about these things that affect you, you get to make changes and little adjustments as you move forward, because we want a different outcome. We want the best outcome. And I can go back and look at days and go like, I'm wondering why I'm a little groggy here. I am learning and growing, and I want to encourage all of you. You want different outcomes? Take the time to slow down and look at what got you here. Look at the habits that you have. Look at the identity that you have about yourself and how you show up. And ask yourself, like, do I want to continue that? Is this who I want to continue to be moving forward? Or is it time for some changes, time for some adjustments? I know there are.
Well, and we started this with saying, if you want a fresh start, you must change. And because if you're like, oh, I want a fresh start, so you just wipe the scoreboard, that doesn't do anything. It's almost like
technically it is a fresh start. It's
like removing a property from the market and then putting it back on just to reset the days on market, but doing nothing else. You guys know that doesn't do anything, right?
But Matt, it goes on the new. It's the top of the hot list.
It is like, gosh, if you like, usually when people do that, there's something that you change, right? You change the price, maybe you do something inside the house, you change something. And for you, if you're looking at your life and your business and saying, man, I want a fresh start, don't look at wiping the scoreboard, because that is what it is. Like, the past has been done, right? Look at, what am I going to change about myself right now in order to be able to move forward so I can start setting new scores? I don't need to worry about wiping the old ones away. I just need to start setting new scores, right? And if you do that, if you look that inwardly, then whatever is there in the environment, you're going to be able to not let that manipulate you as much, because you've taken ownership of yourself. And that's what truly will change everything in your world. Versus being like, let me just clean it up. I'm just going to erase it, right? I've seen people do that. I'm just going to kind of erase my board and just rewrite the stats and like, we're good.
But know what? What's interesting for a lot of people, and I think what makes them feel like just having a fresh start can be a good thing, is that there is motivation starting at zero. It scares a lot of people. It's like, oh my gosh. It's like, I'm back at zero. And I've always joked with people going like, you're technically not. I mean, you've defined this year, but you just had a $50,000 month. Like, yeah. And now you've got some closings lined up. Nothing's closed yet. Yeah, but my number's zero right now. I'm like, okay, you have some crazy motivation around this. But again, if you want to grow and you want to build, you can't just say, okay, my actions and my standards are staying the same. And I think that's what you got to look at, is like starting with a clean slate or whatever that might be. that is when you get to go through your business plan and sit there and say, okay, what do I want to do differently this year? The clean slate is saying, take all the systems and all the things that I do to build business and grow my business and take myself in the direction I want to. Let's clean that slate off, wipe that off, clear the calendar. Yeah, I used to have time on there last year that I'd make calls at a certain time. I never showed up for it though, but let's clean that off. I got lunches on there. I didn't always do those. Let's clear that. Oh, like market impact reports. No, we never got one of those out last year. But there's time on the calendar. Let's clean that slate off. And now let's build it in with a new plan, a new idea. And I think that, some of you this time of the year right now, and thanks to Nick, as we've joked about Happy New Year, there is this moment for you right now to be like, did I change any of my standards? Did I change any of my actions going into this new year? Have I even stopped to analyze why I get the results that I get? And do I want to continue doing that same thing over and over and over again and going, yep, came back to the same spot again, had the same year that I had the year before that. And I learned from a mentor years ago, and this is really important for you to pay attention with your business. Always look at what the marketplace is doing. Because if you do a $400,000 a year and the next year you're like, oh, good, I'll write my business plan and all my stuff, and you end up with a $400,000 a year, if you look at the market and the marketplace did not go up or didn't go down on its own, you did not grow at all. You just did the exact same thing again. You did not improve your business. You just repeated business. If the marketplace goes down and your business goes up, pay attention to the delta in there, because that delta in there will tell you exactly how you outperform the market. If the marketplace goes up and your business stays the same, pay attention to that delta, because that will tell you how you actually did not even follow the marketplace. The market went away and you're like, well, at least I still did what I did last year. I feel pretty good with that. That's a trap that you really should stop and go, well, what did I really do? But you got to pay attention to all this stuff.
Yeah. So, we started with Nick's quote, and I will say, what a great way to look at things. Happy New Year. Today could be your new year, right? In terms of wiping the slate clean, every day you wake up, it's a new day, a new opportunity for you to be the person that you truly are and want to be inside. So maybe that's what you need to do, is wake up and just say, you know what? Happy New Year. And so this is your Happy New Year, middle of February, Happy New Year. If you're looking for that fresh start, Garrett and I know that you can change, because maybe you already have in listening to this. And we would love that. If you guys want to leave some feedback or just leave yourself a positive mindset or set an intention, go over to YouTube and drop a comment on this video. To go to YouTube, search Life at 10 Tenths. I think it's /@ Life at 10 Tenths now, how YouTube does it. Drop a comment on this video and set the intention of this is where I'm going, or don't keep it inside and just prove it to yourself through how you show up each and every day with that. And if you guys want to dive into what we got going on at Life at 10 Tenths, if you want to join our 11 Circle group program, which is growing and it is amazing, we have incredible agents in there, because collaboration is one of the best ways that we can grow, as well as just go to 10tenths.co, life at 10tenths.com, and sign up for a free trial of the 11 Circle. Join us for one of our live calls. We do them every single Wednesday as a group, and we can dive specifically into what's going on in your business during that time and give you some insights, and then you get to experience that for free. And then you can decide if you want to join us for the long haul, which we hope you do, because we have, as Garrett, you've said, we want to build the community of the most amazing people. And I believe we're doing that, because we have some wonderful people in there.
There are new people that I did not know before we started this, Matt, that have shown up. And it's funny, it's one of those things, it's always like, you look at your database and you go, okay, we're going to build this thing. And hopefully all these people that I've collected over 20 years, will all come with me, because this is my people, this is my world. And one thing I'm so grateful for is there are people that have entered into my world that have not been in my day-to-day database, that when I get a chance to call them now, when I get a chance to be around them, it's amazing as we grow as humans. And there are people that stay with us our entire world. There are some people that I'm growing some distance from right now, from my world that I was in the past. And in watching some of these new incredible people show up in my world as friends, it's awesome. And that's the group that we're building. Like, as I'm watching these incredible people come in, and the feedback and the gratefulness coming out of them for what you and I are working on here, Matt, and what we're building, I want to say thank you to everybody out there who's throwing that energy our direction, because yeah, it's fun to build something new. It's fun, really fun. So
it is. So, well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in the podcast. We're blessed to know all of you, and thank you for showing up. If you did get value out of this and you think somebody else might, give it a share, because that's how this podcast grows. It's not like, it gives up the algorithm and serves you up new stuff like it does on Instagram and places like that. So share it out, spread the word, and we appreciate you guys. And as always, we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.